started right away. So today we talked about a problem that a lot of writers have, and that is, how do you make enough time for your writing? And it's interesting because we have more time, technically, we would have more time than ever. After all, technology helps us to streamline every process. You know, cleaning our house, doing our work, getting ready, all of those things, even getting from point A to point B, all of those things are facilitated through technology so that we're saving time. So where does that time go? Well, we create more distractions for ourselves, we create more activities for ourselves, we create things to fill the void that's been created. So I'm going to help you to reclaim that time. Here are a few ideas that are going to reframe the issue for you. Thing number one. Writing is important and legitimate. So whether it is your full-time gig or you have another job and you have other obligations and you have kids and dogs and a household and, you know, emails, whatever you have, writing is just as important, just as legitimate as those. Those may feel more immediate and you have to take care of them, and one's scratching at the door or tugging at your pant leg. You still can schedule in your writing just like you schedule in any errand or obligation. This is where the planners and the lists come in. I mean, it's important. If you look back on your life and you realize that you always postponed that one thing that you think is most important, your writing, you're really going to have a lot of regret. And I do not want to have that happen to you. Thought number two. By not writing, you are stealing from yourself and you're stealing from your readers. This is something that you know is important to you, and by not allowing yourself to do it, you're removing a gift from the world that you could give. So you're a good and giving individual in so many aspects of your life. I'm sure that you volunteer, you give to charity, you help people out. Be kind and giving and generous to yourself. Writing is giving, so do that. If you streamline your day and you eliminate the obligations that are not real obligations, you're going to feel so much more sane and so much more in control, and you'll be able to focus on your writing. Another thought is that you have rituals throughout your day. If you make writing one of those rituals, and indeed one of the most important rituals, it's going to make it a lot easier to just have it happen in an automatic way. And little by little, it'll become more and more easy to be productive when you give yourself the time to write, if you have it ritualized. So what do I mean by ritual? You go through the same actions every single day without even thinking about it, and you kind of get it done without it weighing on you in any way, without having to make a decision, really, because you've already made the decision. You sit down at the same table, in the same comfy chair, you have your favorite beverage, your tea or your coffee or your wine, whatever it takes. That's going to make your writing into a ritual that will be easier to sustain over time. Conversely, do you have rituals every day that are actually not useful to you anymore? Do you watch 2 hours of Netflix every night? Do you need the 2 hours? Could you set 1 hour aside to do a different ritual? Look at your rituals and see if they're really needed anymore. They might belong to another time in your life, or they might belong to the person that you were before. If you were in a work meeting, what would you do to eliminate distractions? You would close the door, you would turn off your phone ringer, you would tell everybody that you were in a meeting and that you couldn't be disturbed, you would turn off all your notifications on your phone, and you would pay full attention to what was going on in that meeting, because it's crucial. It's a meeting that you've scheduled out. Isn't that the same thing with your writing? If you close that door, turn off your phone, tell everyone you're in a meeting, put a sign on the door saying, hey, I'm unavailable until 6 o'clock, well, that is the exact same thing. And I think that that's just the way you need to look at it to avoid those distractions. I talked about the writing group. That is another thought that I was having about the importance of community and planning to be with a community of writers. I know that it's hard to have real life, meetings and interactions, on top of your normal day. But I think it's really crucial. And if you can't do it, try to create a writing group that is, by Skype or something like that. But it really does need to be a real meeting with a real community of writers, because what does that mean? It means that you are part of that community. You are a real writer. You are needed there. You have made the plan to be there. You will disappoint people if you don't show up. And also that friendly competition with the other writers in your group will keep you moving forward. Okay, so I've said before, as a writer, you have different benchmarks for productivity. It's really hard for you to measure whether you're being productive as a writer in the time that you've allotted yourself. So let's say you sit down and you absolutely cannot have anything productive. You can't write anything creative today. You're full on writer's block. So what do? Do you get up and do something else so that you avoid the, negative connotation of sitting there? You don't. You can't. If you get up from your writing time and you go do something else, you go vacuum the floor or walk the dog, your brain's going to tell you vacuuming the floor or walking the dog was a better use of my time. And we cannot let that happen. We're trying to retrain our brain to value the writing time. So what do you do instead? Do anything that supports and furthers your career or identity as a writer. Write a blog post, write an article, write a book review, brainstorm more plot ideas, brainstorm more book ideas if this one's frustrating you. Reach out to a friend who's a writer. Do any of those things that will further your identity as a writer and tell your brain, you know what, this is my creative time. Okay, there is one last thing that I wanted to touch on. I know that I am lecturing you and telling you that you can do it and that you can write and that you need to make the time. Sometimes procrastination is not just gratuitous procrastination. Sometimes things come up that actually take all of your time and energy away from writing. And again, writing is a creative pursuit. It necessitates a lot more mental and emotional energy than normal work tasks, normal home tasks. So let's evaluate what's going on. Is somebody ill, or is there a deadline, or is there something major like a cross-country move? Be kind to yourself and realize that these things are not going to allow you to write for a certain time frame. So reschedule your writing for, next week or the week after. Also, if this is a situation that's going to be long-lasting, try to see whether writing is going to be just another added pressure on you, or whether it's going to be something that's going to help you to remain sane in a difficult situation. That is it for today, guys. I think I've covered a few little mindset hacks that might let you see the time that you have to write in a different way. I hope it helps out. Let me know in your comments, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. In the meantime, happy writing.